Well, Nebraska just wrapped up their Friday practice just a day before they take on Southern Utah at home in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Now, Robin, Nebraska has had some chances to fix their errors from their loss at UC Riverside on Tuesday. That game was at Pinnacle Bank Arena. How has Nebraska backed bounce in practice?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just kind of taking that game for what it is. It was your very first game of any consequence together as a team. And so obviously there was going to be a lot to improve on anyway, but when you have that type of performance, it's basically you wipe the slate clean. Obviously shooting was bad, rebounding was bad, defense was bad, the energy was bad, their response to adversity was bad. So go down the checklist. I think they needed to address every single issue, but you can't just decide, hey, we're going to fix everything in the span of a couple days. And so I think what Fred Hoiberg was mentioning, you try to pick a few isolated things and find different little tweaks that you can do to make gradual improvement in all areas. And obviously there's some more pressing needs than others, but sound like at least the effort was good. They took Wednesday off, came back Thursday and Friday, and had good practices. And the guys' energy kind of started to pick back up, and they're getting further and further away from that very bad start to the year. And so Saturday, like you said, they got an opportunity to regain some of that momentum, some of that swagger. And as long as they do the things, some of the little things that they did not do against UC Riverside, I think they'll be just fine.
And Fred Hoiberg mentioned in his presser that shooting was a concern. He mentioned Kevin Cross as somebody that they could eventually go to. Who do you see dominating this Nebraska offense?
Well, it's got to be everybody, because they have that's one of the things they have as an advantage is the depth. They got a lot of talent and a lot of depth. They don't necessarily have that star power that some teams have, but they have a lot of players that can beat you on any given night. And so against UC Riverside, that opportunity was there for Kevin Cross. Basically, they were dropping their center back under the rim and daring him to shoot it. And he responded by going 1 of 10 from the field and 1 of 6 from three-point range. So he's a better shooter than that. I mean, that's going to even itself out in time as he continues to get that confidence. And I think he was probably caught off guard a little bit that they were almost disrespecting him that way, saying, go ahead and beat us, Kevin. And so I think that's going to get better. But as a team, I mean, just the number of missed open shots. It wasn't like they were taking a bunch of bad shots. They were missing wide open threes. They were missing bunnies at the rim. And so I don't think it was necessarily a matter of shot selection. It's just putting the ball in the hole. And I think that's kind of goes back to that overlying theme of this team handling adversity. Once UC Riverside came back at them, Nebraska went up 9, and once that lead got erased, they kind of crumbled, a little bit. And their shots, I think they weren't shooting with any confidence. And I mean, you get those results when you're not shooting with confidence. When you're missing wide open layups or putbacks, that's confidence. When you're missing free throws, that's confidence. And so I think that's probably something that is the number one quick fix to all this is when this team plays with swagger, they're really good. You saw that in Italy. I mean, granted, the competition was what it was, but when they're out and running, dishing in transition like they were for the first 5 or so minutes of that UC Riverside game, this team can play. And so they need to get back to playing with that type of confidence and energy and just self-belief that you're good and you're going to make these shots. And I think that will help improve the shooting as much as anything.
And on the other end, the defensive end, rebounding has also been a struggle for Nebraska. Do you see it improving on Saturday?
It should. Now, keep in mind that rebounding is always going to be an issue for this team, no matter whom they play. They're just not big, and they don't have go-to rebounders. But the issue in that UC Riverside game for me was it wasn't just being bigger or smaller than their opponent. It was an effort thing. With half of the misses in that game coming on missed three-pointers, those are long rebounds. And with long rebounds, it's about effort and putting in the fight to go chase down the ball before the opponent gets to it. And so I think those could go a long way in kind of closing the gap in that rebounding issue. It's just wanting it more, making some of those winning plays. And this offense is so predicated on defensive rebounds, to being able to get the quick rebound, dish to the outlet, and give it to Cam Mack and let him go sprint down the floor for a transition opportunity. When you don't get those rebounds, or you're struggling to even chase down one that falls right into your hands, which we saw plenty of times, that's when kind of everything gets thrown off with your pace and tempo that makes this offense what it is. So I think a lot of the problems, with anything is just putting in more want to, having more fight on those offensive rebounds, anticipating the ball better off the rim. Those little types of things can go a long way in kind of, like I said, making up for whatever you may lack with your front court size and depth.
Well, Nebraska hosts Southern Utah on Saturday at 1 p.m. in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Reporting for HuskerOnline, I'm Allie, and this is Robin Washut.